Hello, and thank you for joining us today at Short Sales Access as we present our latest business building tool, the Short Sale Analyzer. Never before has it been so easy to assist distressed homeowners in making informed decisions. This unique web-enabled desktop program is a hybrid, which gives you the best features of a web-based program without giving up the speed and convenience of a desktop program. We'll start this quick program overview by focusing on who this program benefits the most: distressed homeowners. Homeowners that are having difficulty making their payments are forced to make decisions when it comes to housing their families. Of the many options available, loan modifications and short sales are the most popular alternatives to foreclosure. The main objective of this software is to help homeowners compare the idea of completing a loan modification on their existing home to the possibility of selling their over-encumbered property as a short sale, renting while they rebuild their credit, and then repurchasing a replacement home in the future. The entire analysis is completed in 4 easy steps. In the interest of time, I'm going to quickly step through the program using the pre-entered data for a fictitious client, John Smith, who happens to live on Upside Down Street. For John, we're going to select the loan modifications versus the short sale rent and repurchase analysis, and then move to our data entry tab to enter the data for this analysis. There are a total of 3 data entry tabs. On the Assumptions tab, our first order of business is to enter our future value escalators. And because no one can predict exactly how much properties will go up and down, it is important that you try multiple appreciation or depreciation scenarios to project your property values into the future. Let's assume that John and I have had a conversation and have decided on the following schedule. Property values will go down 5% in year 1, the property values will remain flat for years 2 and 3, and in years 4 through 40 the property values will go up 4% per year. Now John is in the 28% tax bracket, and we're using 7% as our cost of sale assumption. The monthly rate to rent a property comparable to John's is $1,600 per month, and we're going to escalate that 2% a year. Now that we've covered our basic assumptions, let's move on to our loan modification tab and enter our data. Let's assume that I've completed an analysis of John's property and have determined that the current value is $200,000, even though John paid a lot more for the property. Next, we'll move on to his loan modification data, and we see that John's current balance is $350,000, and the bank is offering a 40-year reamortization of that loan. They're also offering attractive interest-only payments in the beginning of 2% in year 1 and 2, escalating to 3% in year 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, and then finishing the remaining 35 years of the amortization at 5.75% fully amortized. Now, as far as expenses go, John is currently paying $4,000 annually for taxes, $800 for insurance, and $1,200 for maintenance. The expenses are being escalated at 2%, and once we've completed this, we now have enough data to project John's home into the future should he choose to complete a loan modification. Now all we have to do is figure out what might happen if John decides against doing a loan modification and chooses instead to sell his property as a short sale, rent while he rebuilds his credit, and then repurchase a replacement home in the future. On our Repurchase Data tab, the first thing we need to do is select our repurchase strategy. After short selling his home, John plans to rent for 2 years while he rebuilds his credit, and then purchase an identical home in the future. His third-year annual expenses are identical to the third-year annual expenses of his existing home, with the exception of property taxes, which must be entered manually. Our final task for entering data is to enter our mortgage data for our purchase at the beginning of year 3. And again, since no one can predict what interest rates will be like in the future, it's important that you explore multiple interest rate scenarios. At this time, we have completed all of our data entries, and it's time to review our results. On our first Results tab, there is a summary of the projected net equity from sale for each scenario, which begins with a brief description of the analysis. Since John is upside down in his property, we naturally find that his net equity position is quite negative. In fact, it will take several years before he even breaks even on this property. If he moves into a rental permanently, his equity position will always be 0. But if John does a short sale and rents for 2 years, while he rebuilds his credit, and then repurchases a replacement home in the future, he begins to build equity quite quickly. The next result we'll view is John's projected monthly cost after deductions. Because the loan modification begins with very low interest-only payments, it is the least expensive option from a monthly cost point of view. This quickly changes as the interest rate increases, and especially when the loan converts to a fixed, fully amortized loan for the remainder of the loan term. So in the long run, the short sale rent and repurchase scenario is by far the most advantageous option. Now we'll move on to our effective cost after deductions. The effective cost after deductions represents your total cumulative cost of housing for all three scenarios that is offset by any equity that you might build up while living there. The option that shows the lowest effective cost is usually the best financial option. In this case, the short sale rent and repurchase scenario represents the best financial decision. Now, if you want to view the detailed math that generates the three summary reports that we've just viewed, click on your Details tabs to view the data. Once you have reviewed all of your data outputs, it's finally time to print your reports. Click on the Print Reports button and select the reports that you wish to print. Edit your agent and office data, photos, logos, and company information, and view your reports on screen, print them to the printer, or send them as PDF attachments. This concludes our brief overview of the Short Sale Analyzer. If you would like to order the analyzer, go to www.theshortsaleanalyzer.com. If you have questions, please call us at 925-309-6109. Thank you very much for your time, and goodbye.